Hello, level 4 students. My name is Tamsang Malanga, who's lecturing in animal production in GS TVET College under the Berdekop campus. So we'll be looking on topic number 4, that is module 12 in your textbooks. That's about ostrich farming. So the objectives or the outcomes that we have to cover after this lesson, as a student, you should be able to describe the suitability, the ostrich suitability to environmental conditions, that's climate and vegetation. And you also have to be able to describe the ostrich products and explain the demand for ostrich products. And the last outcome that you should be able to apprehend or comprehend after this, it's you should be able to identify and describe ostrich breeds and housing arrangements for ostrich. In my introduction, let's start with the ostrich, describing the ostrich. What is ostrich? Ostrich is a species of large flightless birds that is native to large parts of Africa. And the ostrich name originates from the Latin name Stratio camelus. It was named by one of our taxonomists, Carl Linnaeus, around 1758, together with other taxonomists. Then ostrich, it falls under the kingdom of Animalia. We class avians or it's avian or avian, it's up to you, how do you call it. Then the genus is Stratio, the species is Camelus. So ostrich lived freely and roamed on most of the African continent as well as Middle East. But our main focus is on ostrich farming. So let's describe the concept of ostrich farming. So ostrich farming is keeping these birds or ostrich for their feathers, hides, and meat. So how it started, this thing, commercialization of ostrich. So the true commercial ostrich farming started in Southern Cape, in South Africa, in the early 1800th century. And it was farmed for their feathers. But today it has changed because people has realized that ostrich meat is lean and healthy to eat. And currently, the ostrich farming has become a lucrative business. But you have to note that it has a high risk agribusiness venture that you could take. In the 19th century, there was an increased demand for ostrich plums that were used in making dress and hats for fashion industry. And even today, you could relate when you see Durban, Vodacom Durban July, the fashion people, they are dressed with a lot of colorful feathers. Some of are from ostrich. Then from 1920 up to 1993, ostrich industry was regulated. So it means the sales and everything around the ostrich industry was regulated by South African government, and the industry was deregulated in 1993. Then we have now a free market principles that applies around ostrich farming. And currently, many other countries have ostrich industry. However, South Africa still plays a major role in meeting the world's demand for ostrich products that are highly competitive and priced. So then let's move to the external features of an ostrich. Ostrich, just like any other bird, is covered with feathers. Then the external features of ostrich include just a small head with a big, enlarged eyes and elongated neck. Its body is covered with soft, short, black body feathers and large, soft white feathers on the wings and tails in male. Then the female has got a brown-gray body feathers. Then ostrich has 2 long, powerful legs, which have a characteristic scale covering the front of the lower foot and the toe. Then these long legs allow the ostrich to run up to a speed of 65 kilometers an hour. And the ostrich has got 2 toes on each foot with a claw-like nail on the larger toe. Then an adult ostrich may weigh up to 150 kgs. So it's a very heavy bird. That is why it's unable even to flight, as we indicated earlier, which is a flightless bird, and can stand at a height of 2.7 meters. So its height, it's a very tall bird. Then we set in our objective that you should be able to describe ostrich in terms of its suitability to environmental conditions, that is climate and vegetation. Then the question will be, what is the climate that is suitable for ostrich farming? So the answer will be, ostrich requires dry, hot, and cold areas. Since we have said this ostrich is a hard animal, it can survive very harsh environmental conditions, because it can be able to control heat loss during the cold weather, because it's got large feathers. It will use them to cover its legs with its wing in a sitting position, so it could generate heat and kept warm. How ostrich is adaptable to hot environmental conditions? So in a very hot weather, ostrich has got physiological feathers. It then generates the coolness of its body by gently fanning the feathers to keep it cool, and it also uses its feathers to block out the direct sunlight. Then the ostrich has also, in South Africa, we've got various vegetation sites where you find ostrich being farmed around Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, Western Cape, or almost all over South Africa, because there's a grassland or shrub or semi-desert sites where it adapts very well. And the ostrich also do well on flatland or gently hills in the Little Karoo and the surrounding areas. So the vegetation that exists in the Karoo mainly consists of dwarf shrubs and grasses, of which ostrich graze on those shoots of the plants, flowers, the leaves, and even sometimes the seeds of those shrubs that are growing in the Karoo. Then moving to the feasibility of ostrich farming, my level 4s. How practical or how feasible is to farm ostrich in South Africa? These days, as we indicated earlier, that the ostrich, people have realized that ostrich meat is more healthier than any other meat. So ostrich products have gained popularity among various people in South Africa. So the market now is exclusive, high quality meat is produced, and we also have high quality leather and feathers that is produced or that we get from a ostrich. And the ostrich farming, my level 4 students, you have to remember that it is an intensive production system. So you'll remember if you did a poultry or animal production on level 2 with poultry farming, you'll remember the advantages or the characteristics of an intensive production system. But for ostrich farming in South Africa, to be sustainable and to conserve the biodiversity of our region, ostrich farming is farmed in such a way it is optimizing or it is using the available land more sustainable, because we mustn't damage the environment. So, the ostrich can breed when they are 3 years and older. And the mature ostrich are known to produce 39 to 90 eggs each year, with an average of 40 eggs per hen. Then they remain fertile for a very long time and can live up to 50 years. But the optimal commercial production age of an ostrich is between 8 years to 14 years, and with an incubation period of 42 days. And ostrich, as we said, it's a farming that is well organized and has got a well organized trade. We said it's very lucrative agri-business. We said in our objectives that we have to be able to describe ostrich products. What are the products that we get from ostrich? It's feathers, it's meat, it's hide. It's feathers, meat, and hide. As you said earlier, that ostrich meat, its hair is much more healthier than any other meat. So what makes the ostrich meat popular and more healthier? It's because the quality of meat from ostrich is very high. It's of high quality. So the healthy conscious consumers prefer the meat from ostrich than any other red meat, because the ostrich meat has got a very low cholesterol and fat, so it's lean meat. So if you are a healthy conscious customer, like those people these days who are busy with other products that are helping them to improve their lives. And other products that are produced from any ostrich, as is indicated, like hides, then the hides are turned into leather in tanneries just to make handbags, shoes, boots, and the hides is also used by motor industry as leather to trim seats and upholstery. The feathers are used for making fashion accessories, brushes, dusters, and the fat from ostrich is processed in fine skin oils and are mostly used as a pet food ingredient. And the ostrich meat is used as a gourmet in butcheries and restaurants. I think now we are covering the last outcome, that was about identifying and describing ostrich breeds. So we've got 3 commonly known breeds of ostrich in South Africa. The South African black is bred for its superior feather quality and egg production. It is the shortest of the 3, has more docile nature, so it means it's calm, and its color is light gray, blue, white. Then we've got the blues. This one is a pure breed species, and it has a blue coloring that shows on its neck from the underlying skins. They are taller than the black. Its height is between 2.1 to 2.75 meters, and it says to be slightly heavier than the South African black. And the feather quality is not as good as of the South African black. Then we've got the reds. The red is the tallest and the largest of all the three, and it can reach a maximum height of between 2.4 and 3 meters height. It has a strong underlying red coloring, which comes from the color of the skin. And this one is says to be the aggressive breed. So when you are handling it, you should consider your sage first, because you might get hurt if you are dealing with the reds. Then ostrich housing. Ostriches are gregarious birds, or it means they are enjoying living together or living in groups. So when they become adults, they tend to move away from each other and fend for themselves in smaller groups. So if you can go to your textbook around page 242, you'll get that information. But we said we're gonna be looking at the possible housing arrangements for ostrich. So what are the things that you have to consider when you are planning for a housing for your ostrich? So first thing, you must consider whether the ostrich will live indoor or outdoor, or it's live inside or outside. And the indoor pen or outdoor pen has its own advantages and disadvantages. But the housing facility, if you have chosen that you are going to use an indoor or an outdoor housing pen, both of these facilities, they should provide a shelter from strong winds just to protect your birds. The shelter or the site, it should be far away from the noise. The areas or a site where you are going to build the housing for your ostrich, it must avoid wet areas or stagnant water. And the site should be far away from buildings and have a good soil drainage. So let's look on the outdoor and indoor pen, its advantages and disadvantages. So the outdoor pen is more cost-effective compared to the indoor holding pen. And in the outdoor pen, the birds are able to roam around freely in a semi-natural environment, but that environment is still controlled. That's the advantages about an outdoor holding pen. The disadvantages of an outdoor pen is that when you are rearing an all-day chick, the shelter, you will need a shelter for an all-day chick in an outdoor, because the brooding period from poor weather, if it is outdoor, it must be provided with shelter. And the birds in an outdoor are susceptible or are exposed to diseases because the environment is not protected. Is exposed to diseases, and the health of your birds is compromised. But though we've said it's an outdoor, the environment is healthier than the closed system, because in a closed system, again, the diseases can spread more rapidly if ever the site doesn't have a good soil drainage. Then looking on the indoor holding pen, the birds are in a more controlled environment, and the diseases, certain diseases and predators are easier to control compared to an outdoor. But the disadvantage about an indoor holding pen is that the system is expensive or it's costly. And sometimes you may not be able to provide enough or sufficient space for ostrich to move around. So if the space is limited, and if you have not considered your stocking density or stocking rate, your animal or your birds will not be able to move freely, and they will be stressed, of which is not good for your birds. Then, when you are housing for your day-old chicks, a young chick can be kept in a variety of facilities. So you can make a small portable pen that could accommodate a number of chicks. And that pen can be placed on a short cut grass and be moved daily. It must be a rotational, make it that way. Then the chicks are brought out of the pen after the temperature has reached about 20 degrees Celsius, and the sun is shining, and the juice has dried off from the pastures. Then we've got different flooring types for this housing system. If you go to 244 to 245 of your textbook, you'll get these flooring types. They are explained there together with the advantages and their disadvantages. If we can mention, we've got a cement flooring type. We also have a cement with a plastic matting cover or a rubber coatings. We do have a sand or a natural soil. We also have a straw. The last one, we've got an earth mat, a steel mesh or windscreen that would be placed on a sand or a dirty. You can just go through the disadvantages and advantages of the flooring types, because the question might come with what are the advantages of using a cement over a straw, or what are the disadvantages of using a earth metal over a sand or a natural soil. I hope we have covered the outcomes we've indicated earlier, that the description of ostrich in terms of suitability to environment. Now you can be able to describe the environment that an ostrich adapt to, the dry, hot and cold. We also have described the ostrich products, especially the meat. We've made an emphasis around the meat, which is why ostrich meat has become popular around the customers in South Africa, and the demand and the market for ostrich products. And I think we have also managed, and I hope we have managed to comprehend the characteristics or the breed types of ostrich that we have in South Africa and its characteristics. We've said we have South African black, we said we've got the blues, and we also have the reds, because the question might come from the exam that you make the comparisons of the ostrich breeds. You should be able to identify those ostrich breeds and compare them. We also spoke about the housing of ostrich. But the main thing that you should focus on or you should consider is whether the ostrich will live indoor or outdoor. Then after that, you have to know that the housing facility, what it should look like and what it should provide for your chicks. We also spoke about the flooring types of different housing systems or pens that are available for ostrich. I hope you have grasped all this information and it will be useful to you. Thank you.